Welcome to the Stoic Tide. Every high-value man learns one truth early. Respect isn't something you request. It's something you breathe. It's in the boundaries you defend, in the calm way you say no without blinking, in the silent strength that follows you into every room. Women don't respect promises. They don't respect sweet words. They respect the man who holds the line, even when it's uncomfortable. Most men lose their woman not when they stop loving her, but when they stop commanding respect. It happens slowly. One silent compromise at a time, one small surrender of dignity until the man she once admired becomes a shadow of himself. You don't lose respect in a dramatic fall. You lose it drip by tolerating what you once vowed you never would. But today that cycle ends. Today you stop asking for respect and start living it. I'm going to share with you the 5 essential boundaries every man must hold. Not to cage her, not to control her, but to protect the only thing that matters, your soul. If you're ready to reclaim the man you were always meant to be, drop a comment below. I choose respect. Because from this moment on, you don't demand respect. You embody it. Let's begin. Number 1, never reward disrespect. Every man faces a quiet decision point. A moment where he either defends his dignity or hands it away. Not with a scream, not with a fight, but with a shrug. With silence. You see, disrespect rarely arrives like a punch to the face. It creeps in like a whisper. A mocking joke you laugh off, a cold shoulder you excuse, a subtle insult you swallow because you don't want to cause a scene. And the moment you accept it, you teach her something crucial: that you can be molded, that your standards are negotiable. In that moment, you don't lose her love. You lose her admiration. And once admiration dies, love soon follows. It doesn't matter how loyal you are, how many gifts you bring, how long you've been together. A woman cannot stay inspired by a man she doesn't respect. She senses it the second you prioritize comfort over principle. The second you let her diminish you and pretend it didn't happen. Respect isn't something you reclaim with a grand gesture. It's something you protect in the small invisible moments. Moments where you say, calmly, clearly this far, no further. If you hesitate, if you tolerate, you don't just lose her heart. You lose your own edge. And a man without his edge is a man halfway to forgetting who he truly is. Disrespect doesn't always come dressed in rage. It often wears a quieter mask. It's the constant interruptions when you speak. It's the way she rolls her eyes when you share your dreams. It's the casual comparisons to other men to slice you just enough to doubt yourself. It's the silence after you set a boundary, the kind of silence that punishes you for daring to stand tall. It's the jokes she makes at your expense, laughing it off with friends while you pretend not to notice the cut underneath. Many men miss these moments. They think it's just her being emotional or she didn't mean it. But make no mistake, every small hit you excuse is a blueprint you hand her. A blueprint showing exactly how to erode your worth. She doesn't need to scream at you. She just needs to see you swallow your pride 1 time, 2 times, until you become a man she no longer fears losing. You teach people how to treat you, not through speeches, but through the silent agreements you make every time you stay quiet when you should have spoken. Disrespect rarely starts as a landslide. It starts as a crack. A hairline fracture that only widens with time. The longer you let it go, the more it becomes the story of who you are, and a man without clear lines eventually forgets where he even stands. When disrespect shows itself, even in small ways, your response decides the future. Most men react. They argue, they beg, they try to explain why they deserve better. But the man who commands true respect doesn't react. He responds. And his response is simple. It's not loud. It's not dramatic. It's decisive. He corrects the behavior once calmly. Clear words, no anger. Don't speak to me like that again. If it happens again, he doesn't plead. He doesn't explain. He simply leaves. Not out of rage, but out of respect for himself. Because the man who lets one offense slide invites 1,000 more. Every time you excuse disrespect, you teach the world you're willing to trade your dignity for comfort. But when you hold the line quietly, firmly, you become something rare. Your presence sharpens. Your voice lowers. Your energy shifts. People feel it before you speak. And the ones who respect strength, the ones worth keeping, draw closer. The rest fall away and let them, because you're not here to be liked by everyone. You're here to be respected by those who matter. Stand firm, not in anger, not in pride, but in the quiet, unshakable knowledge of your own worth. That's how you stop rewarding disrespect. That's how you build a life only the worthy can enter. Number 2, guard your peace. There comes a time in every man's life when he must make a decision. A decision that will shape the rest of his days quietly but completely. Will he chase the world or will he defend his peace? Understand this. Peace is not something you stumble upon by accident. It's not handed to you. It's not the result of luck or circumstance. Peace is something you guard like your life depends on it, because in truth it does. A man without peace wakes up already behind. He reacts to every insult. He explains himself to doubters. He rushes to fix things that were never his to fix. He performs every day for people who wouldn't notice if he fell apart tomorrow. For women who test him, for friends who drain him, for a world that rewards his exhaustion with empty applause. That's not living, that's surviving. Real peace is different. Real peace is when you no longer need to defend yourself with noise. You defend yourself with presence. You walk into a room and shift its temperature without speaking. You handle disrespect not with anger but with absence. You choose stillness over chaos, clarity over confusion, but most men leak their peace like water through cracked hands. Every time they argue with someone unworthy, every time they answer a disrespectful message, every time they say yes out of guilt, every time they engage in chaos just to feel less alone. Each small leak chips away at who they are until all that's left is a hollow man, wearing the mask of who he used to be. You cannot build an empire on a shaky foundation. You cannot lead a relationship with an anxious soul. You cannot earn respect when you're desperate for relief. Peace is the ground you build everything on. It's the invisible armor that shields you from the storms of life. And women, they feel it instantly. They can tell when your mind is scattered, when your time is cheap, when your boundaries are blurred. They don't admire it. They don't fall deeper in love with it. They sense weakness. They feel like they have to lead. And no woman truly respects a man who needs to be led. Guarding your peace means becoming unavailable to nonsense. Not because you're bitter, not because you're scared, but because you've designed your life on purpose. You become selective about who gets access to you. You watch what you consume, your conversations, your habits, your entertainment. You ask yourself constantly, does this protect my peace or poison it? If it poisons it, it goes. No explanation, no second chances, no dramatic exit, just gone. You stop explaining your worth. You stop fighting for attention. You stop running toward validation that was never yours to begin with. Because a man at peace doesn't chase chaos. He stands so still that chaos trips over itself trying to reach him. You wake not for status, but because the quiet hours are your sanctuary. You train your body not for vanity, but because physical order feeds mental clarity. You clean your space not to impress anyone, but because you refuse to let disorder rent space in your mind. You walk alone sometimes, not out of loneliness, but because a man at peace enjoys his own company more than empty noise. You say no without explaining. You let unanswered texts stay unanswered. You allow people to misunderstand you without rushing to defend yourself. You let them wonder. You let them talk because while they're gossiping, you're building. While they're questioning, you're creating. While they're spiraling, you're ascending. Understand this. When a woman tests you with drama, with silence, with sudden withdrawal, she's not trying to destroy you. She's looking for your center. She's leaning against your walls to see if they crumble. She's pulling at your roots to see if you stand. And if every time she pokes you flinch, there is no core-only reaction. But if you remain still, if you hold the silence longer than her confusion, if you respond only when you choose to, then you don't just guard your peace. You broadcast it. And in that space, she will either rise to meet you or she will fall away. Either way, you win because no love, no friendship, no job, no approval is worth surrendering your soul. If you lose yourself trying to hold on to someone, you haven't won them. You've lost you. What's the value of love if the price is your essence? Guard your peace like a man guards his kingdom without apology, without compromise, without noise. Build it so strong it offends those who live in chaos, so real that the wrong people retreat and the right ones feel magnetically drawn. Because when you live this way, everything you once chased, validation, attention, admiration, respect, starts chasing you. You become the rarest man in the room. The man who doesn't need the world to notice him to know he matters. That's peace. And once you own it, you will never trade it again. Not for love, not for validation, not for anyone. Number 3, don't share too much. There's a part of you she should never fully see. Not because you are hiding, but because mystery breathes life into connection. You see, women don't want to know everything about you, even if their words say otherwise. They want to feel your depth, not dive into its bottomless pit every day. They want to sense the weight you carry, not be asked to lift it. When you offer every thought, every fear, every old wound too soon, you stop being her desire. You start becoming her project. And women don't fall in love with projects. They fall for men who hold their burdens quietly, men who reveal themselves slowly like a sunrise, measured, intentional, beautiful. You've been taught to open up endlessly, to pour out your emotions as proof of trust. But let's be honest, how often did that make her admire you more? Did her eyes shine brighter when you confessed your anxieties? Did she lean closer when you wept about your doubts? Or did something shift, subtle, invisible, where she no longer saw you as her protector but as another man she needed to save? And no woman craves to rescue the man she dreams of leaning on. Having emotions doesn't make you weak. Bleeding them out at every opportunity does. A respected man feels deeply but moves carefully. He never drops his emotional burdens at her feet, expecting her to carry what is his to shoulder. He integrates his pain quietly, steadily, with patience, alone if necessary, because strength isn't the absence of feeling. It's the ability to feel without becoming unbalanced. When you expose every corner of your soul too early, you create emotional clutter, confusion. She doesn't know where to stand. She doesn't know what role to play. Instead of feeling safe around your openness, she starts to feel smothered by it. She instinctively withdraws, not because she's cruel, but because her nature seeks to lean, not to bear the full weight of another. The most respected men reveal themselves in glimpses, small windows into their soul, not full blueprints. They lead with presence, not explanations. They don't seek connection through confession. They build it through consistency, through silence that draws her closer. You want to transform your relationships? Then treat your story like treasure, not a brochure handed out to anyone willing to listen. Let her earn the right to know you. Let curiosity pull her in. When she asks questions, answer but only enough to deepen the mystery. You're not withholding out of fear. You're preserving polarity. You're maintaining the very tension that keeps desire alive. Most men mistake talking for bonding. They think if she knows everything, she'll stay. But she doesn't leave because she knows too little. She leaves because there's nothing left to discover. Predictability is the death of attraction. This isn't manipulation. This is mastery, strategic vulnerability, purposeful emotional restraint. You don't speak every time you're uncomfortable. You speak when it strengthens your path. You don't share wounds to seek sympathy. You reveal victories to inspire trust. You don't break open at every crack. You open slowly, intentionally, like a sunrise that demands nothing yet changes everything. You become the rare man she respects. Not just relates to, because you're not seeking validation. You're radiating certainty. Your peace is not a group project. Your mission is not open for negotiation. When you speak too soon, you dilute your power. When you share every insecurity, you arm others with weapons against you. And when you speak, every time you feel something, you become noise, not a signal. Master the power of presence. Sit with your emotions. Write your storms into stillness. Move confusion into action. Build an emotional fortress, one that only the worthy are allowed to enter. When you finally reveal your soul, it's not to burden others. It's to offer them a glimpse of something rare. Resilience. You don't offload your pain. You demonstrate your endurance. You don't bleed out. You let strength rise slowly like light over a sleeping world. And that's how you become unforgettable. Not by how much you share, but by how much you carry with quiet strength. The less you spill, the more they lean in. The less you seek approval, the more they seek you. Because in a world of men desperate to be seen, the man who stands silent, centered, and strong, he is the one they never forget. Number 4, no emotional reactivity. Mastery doesn't mean you stop feeling. It means you stop letting your feelings dictate your moves. Real control isn't coldness. It's depth. It's when you can feel everything but respond only to what matters. A man who is easily moved by the whims of others, by a comment, a glance, a withdrawal, has not yet touched the roots of his own strength. The world, whether it knows it or not, wants you reactive. The media pokes you. Your friends prod you. Women test you because reaction is weakness displayed in motion. When you react, you hand over the steering wheel of your soul. You say, "Here, guide me." To whoever pushes the hardest, you've seen it happen. One moment you feel calm, then she shifts her tone just slightly. She says something laced with sarcasm. She pulls her energy away without a word. And before you know it, your stomach twists. Your mind races. Your words chase after hers like wind scrambling to catch water. This is emotional reactivity. It's when your inner world is no longer your own. It's a puppet on invisible strings. The moment she senses she can move you at will, the respect in her heart begins to rot slowly, silently, permanently, not because she's cruel, but because she can no longer trust you to be the mountain. You become another leaf in the storm, not the rock beneath her feet. Emotional sovereignty is not about shutting down. It's about standing up internally, feeling every wave but choosing which ones deserve your movement. It's about facing the part of yourself that panics. When someone disapproves, that flinches. When someone pulls away, that rushes to fix, to chase, to beg. And saying to that part, you don't get to lead anymore. You watch your impulses. You observe your triggers. You sit with the tension. You let silence do what scrambling never could. Reveal who truly stands on steady ground. The space between stimulus and response. That sacred pause is where kings are born. You don't lash out. You don't explain yourself. You don't chase after fleeing energy. You stand. You watch, you wait. Because mastery isn't loud. It's quiet. It's calm. It's the unshakable presence that says, I choose my battles. I choose my emotions. When a woman tests you, when a boss questions you, when a stranger disrespects you, you do not crumble. You do not react. You stay rooted. And in that stillness, something shifts. She doesn't just relax. She melts. Because in a world where men fold at the first gust of wind, the man who stands still becomes unforgettable. But you cannot fake this calm. You cannot plaster it over boiling insecurity. You must dig deeper, face your impatience, face your fear of abandonment, face your need to explain yourself, own them, disarm them until you are no longer moved by every tug on your emotions. You see behind the words. You hear the fear behind the anger. You see the insecurity behind the silence. And instead of reacting, you remain clear, disciplined. You no longer need the last word. You no longer defend your character to those unworthy of judging it. You protect your energy like a king guards his crown. If someone wants your attention, they must come correctly. No noise, no drama, no chaos. This quiet strength changes everything. The people who once provoked you grow frustrated because you no longer dance to their chaos. The ones who seek peace start to orbit around you because calm attracts clarity, and clarity repels confusion. You speak less. You move slower. You observe deeper. You don't flinch at her mood swings. You don't chase when she pulls away. You don't scramble to explain yourself when misunderstood. Her storms no longer rock your foundation. Instead, you become the safe harbor she didn't even know she was searching for. Not because you fixed her, but because you didn't lose yourself trying to. And life rewards this kind of man. Because most men are slaves to their feelings, calling it passion. They burn bridges. They pick fights. They crumble under rumors. They chase validation. But you exit chaos like it's beneath you. Because it is. You walk through storms untouched. You rise from betrayal without drama. You hear lies about you and stay silent because truth doesn't panic. You are ghosted, doubted, criticized, and still you move forward quietly, powerfully. No emotional reactivity means you no longer hand over your destiny to the mood of the moment. You choose your path with calm. You build your kingdom with discipline, one unshakable boundary at a time. And in doing so, you become the man the world cannot move because you are no longer led by feeling. You are led by purpose. Number 5, always be willing to walk away. There comes a point when staying is more damaging than leaving. And yet many men stay. They stay in dead-end jobs, toxic relationships, hollow friendships, not because they believe in them, but because they fear what's on the other side. The unknown feels heavier than the familiar pain. So they shrink. They smile. They say, it's not that bad. And piece by piece they lose themselves. But the man who dares to walk away, he is rare. He doesn't stay for comfort. He stays for alignment. And the second alignment disappears. So does he. This isn't about being reckless. It's about being loyal to your standards, to your soul. Women can feel it too. They can sense if you're staying because you're addicted to her attention, or because she genuinely adds peace and purpose to your life. The man who clings is tested endlessly. The man who stands his ground earns silent respect. Because a man who is willing to walk away forces everyone to treat him differently. He demands nothing yet commands everything. Walking away means you love yourself more than the fear of starting over. It means you can say, I love you, but I will not betray myself for you. It's not cold. It's sacred. It's a man refusing to trade his soul for company. And when you live like this, the wrong people exit and the right ones step closer. Not because you chase them, but because your gravity changes. You stop explaining yourself. You stop pleading for respect. You stop waiting for others to value what you already know is priceless. You understand that peace is more expensive than any fleeting pleasure. You realize that comfort zones are just beautifully decorated cages, and you refuse to live imprisoned. True strength isn't loud. It isn't angry. True strength is walking away silently, calmly, without drama. When something insults your spirit, it's choosing peace over familiarity, purpose over validation, standards over temporary happiness. If you want to transform your life, start practicing this. Be willing to walk away from any job, any friend, any relationship, any situation that demands you become less than who you are. Every time you choose yourself, you sharpen your edge. You deepen your peace and life starts shifting. The man you were, the one who compromised, who begged, who settled, he dissolves. And the man who remains, he doesn't chase attention. He doesn't fold under pressure. He sharpens his soul in silence. He doesn't scream for validation. He becomes undeniable simply by existing. You weren't born to kneel for love or attention. You were born to stand quietly, calmly, powerfully. Respect isn't demanded. It's earned by how you live. So walk away when you must. Walk away even when it hurts. Walk away without apology, because your soul was never meant to live in chains. It was meant to soar. If this message resonated with you, share it with a man who needs to remember his worth. Drop a comment below and subscribe to Stoic Tide for more insights.